Welcome, y'all. Welcome to ZenChaos. I,
You're
I am Dean. That over there is Zen. What's up, my brother? How you feeling?
tired. Been
I'm
a,
I'm
not a long day, but a day. And I'm tired.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you. There was definitely a little bit of a oomph, right? But
But
I
we here.
guess what uh-huh. So I guess, something to really kind of wake you up, or maybe not wake you up, could possibly put you to bed, depending on your thoughts on it. Bringing in a little bit of international news,
Jumping across
partic-
the pond.
jumping across the pond. There is something that I sent you early on that I don't know if you saw or got into anything a little bit, but before we kind of get into the heavy stuff, I just want to sprinkle this in here real fast to kind of like have a quick little, we got to talk about this.
Okay.
So, according to the New York Times, Prince Andrew settled a sexual abuse lawsuit with Virginia. I'm gonna butcher her last name. Gorfria, whatever. I apologize. One of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers. Financial terms were not disclosed.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, that's interesting,
Ah,
but I'm not gonna have time to read on it.
a
But
100%. But I do just want to bring this up, just because it's. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The Queen will pay Prince Andrew's $14 million legal settlement. Oh my God, that just popped up on me. According to the Daily Beast, you don't know who how true that is, but the issue is how much this is not being really spoken about and kind of like blasted across the airways internationally, right? Like this is a man high within like the royal hierarchy, linked to a known human and sex trafficker in Jeffrey Epstein, who's also known to have connections with high political members within within the American society, right? Within the American government that
for sure.
everyone knows is being swept under the rug. This is a man, excuse me, in Jeffrey Epstein, who died of suicide, which none of us believe, but then we all are forced to believe. And then
You have to.
eventually in 50 years, they're going to come out and say that, the government had a hand within his death. None of this is being spoken about how this man, Prince Andrew, was being indicted within all of this kind of nonsense. And then he decided to settle out of court with it. Why would he decide to settle if he was innocent?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
was he running this whole time, Zen? Zen, let me break it down to you for a quick second, folks. And to the people, we're not going to stay here for too long. Same way the mainstream media didn't stay on it for too long. But we're going to give you just enough ammunition to go ahead and do your research. But I want everybody to look at the whole legal fight that was going down between Prince Andrew and then even the American government, because they were trying to get this whole they wanted to be able to serve him. Then he had this British lawyer saying that they can't serve him in the British law. Then they had to do this whole dance back and forth. At that moment, we should have all known that this man is guilty. Listen, a hurt dog is going to howl.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there was showing that he was a hurt dog. And this was the nail in the coffin, but we're just all kind of, yeah, look, this is what happened. But oh, look, this happened too. Very interesting how this is not getting the just due it deserves, I believe.
I feel like they don't really give Epstein related stuff
Hmm.
air like that. They
Talk
touch
about it.
on it and then it vanishes. Like
Mm.
one of the things that I'm not one who's jumped on deep diving into, but a couple of my other friends are big on it too, and they talk about like, yo, there's this person and this person. I can't wait for the trial. I can't wait to see what's going on. And then
Well, we have to remember though, and we
like
do have to
this,
put this
that's
out
where
there.
news goes. I feel,
Well, true, but then also too with the federal trials, they're not going to have the cameras in the federal trial.
but I mean,
You know
in the
what I
sense
mean?
of just talks about it. Like there's, it's not
True.
like,
How much information is
oh, it's
accurate?
coming. There's no information coming out about it. There's nobody running like art. There's no news segments on it. There's not like, oh, this was just released, or this is what's going on, and this was found with Epstein, or like this person is linked. Like they don't run. They don't talk about him at all. They're just kind
So,
of, oh,
mhm.
something happened.
Hmm.
Leave that headline. Move on to a different topic.
You are not wrong at all in what you're stating, but then does it become conspiracy if we decide to state, hey, obviously those individuals who are trying to, who possibly maybe trying to run some of them stories, do they have blackmail that possibly being thrown on them? You know what I mean? Maybe a promotion that they want to get. These are powerful people that they're going against, and not for nothing, was it Jeffrey Epstein's judge or was it Ghislaine Maxwell's judge that got shot at? They ended up killing her child and shot her husband.
I feel like that was Maxwell. I feel like that was related to Maxwell. I could be
Yes, it
wrong,
was.
but I'm pretty sure that was related to Maxwell.
And then the killer they ended up tying to an individual who had issues with this judge over his own, like, I believe it was like his custody stuff, as well as possibly her kind of thoughts on life or whatever the case may be. They definitely painted him out to be a savage, and he obviously was. But the question becomes, why that judge out of all of a sudden? And why at that moment? Yet once again, kind of the same way that they put Epstein's goddamn suicide murder right in front of us and swept that son bitch under the rug. They went up ahead and goddamn swept under the rug an attempted assassination on the judge, but it ended up botching. It ended up, unfortunately, taking her son out and then shooting her husband. We don't talk about that. Same way we're not gonna talk about this whole Prince Andrew shit. And isn't it amazing that the Queen is gonna be paying $14 million in this legal settlement? Obviously that's her kid, but what else? But then you have to ask, is there anything else going on within the royals and anything? Like, doesn't it? It just makes you wonder more of on these so-called conspiracy theories. It's like, a lot of people have been saying a lot of these things for a long time and no one listens, and now all of a sudden, bang, 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 they're starting to hit, and motherfuckers are like, they're still just
those conspiracies that aren't just conspiracies. It's true. It's got truth elements to it, and it's going to take too long, I think, for it to be confirmed as more than a conspiracy. I guess if conspiracy leaves it in that not necessarily true part, but I feel like that's with all this a lot of the sexual allegation stuff and pedophile type stuff related. Like, they're gonna keep that. We're not gonna go that hard as much as we know we need to and should. The people that are involved are too big. So we'll let people just leave it as conspiracies because you're not going to buy it, and then they can run from there.
As you were talking, you just made me want to kind of look something up, right? So because we know that there's like a lot of issues that plague the world, you know what I mean? And then a lot of those world issues can be reflected within all parts of the world. That's what they're world issues, right? And there's an issue I believe that is never really spoken about enough, and that's human trafficking as well as sex trafficking. And as you were talking, because the way you were saying, basically the way I was like, kind of internalizing is, effectively is the reason they're not going to be diverting resources to these issues because, like, obviously they're going to be, indicted within those same issues, right? So I just decided to pull up some numbers from safehorizon.org. And matter of fact, let me see if I can do the right thing and share this thing, because last time it was giving us some issues, folks.
A trafficking site.
Yeah, this right here. So this is a human trafficking statistic and fact site, right? So it also said needs help, call a 24-hour hotline. They give you a number right there. If you're in immediate danger, call 911. That's what they state. And obviously that's what you should be doing. But so national human trafficking statistics, right? So 24.9 million people are victims of forced labor, right? 16 million people are trafficked for forced labor in private economy. That's interesting. Private economy includes private individuals, groups, or companies in all sectors except the commercial sex industry. 4.8 million people are trafficked for forced sexual exploitation. 4.1 million people are trafficked for forced labor and state-imposed forced labor. It is estimated that 20.9 million people are trafficked worldwide. Women and girls are disproportionately affected by human trafficking, accounted for 71% of all victims. Holy shit. And now these are numbers from 2017, 2012. It looks like. I don't know if they have any more updated numbers. I don't know those numbers. Obviously, I'm going to assume that those numbers are talking about the year. Now, with all those numbers going on, you have to ask yourself, why isn't that a bigger issue?
Right.
Why is that not pushed more?
Right.
But then we see
even when it got its hype, because it did pick up that whole Amazon thing,
Mm-hmm.
or the what was it? eBay, not eBay. The boxes, the chests or whatever that were being sold with the weird names that they were saying were
Oh,
really
yes,
linked
yes,
to,
yes, yes, yes. They
like
were
that
codes.
that hit mainstream. So
It
like why
did.
didn't that just take this and like let's push this to the forefront of what we are going to focus on? Like why did that hit mainstream? Settle right back in.
And then Zen, not only did it hit mainstream, but you know what else it did? They then made you feel stupid for even thinking that that was a thing. Like,
Sort of.
oh, why would they? You
Like
know,
going,
why would they?
oh look, this girl was found. This one was not really. It's oh
Why
look, it's
would you
not
even think
really a
of?
thing.
There are. You know what? I have a. You know what? Let's put this question in there.
I did start diving
How
on that a little bit because I was like, this has to be BS. And then you go look up the girls. I'm like, oh well, this one's found. Well, this one's still missing, and I'm over it. And then hey, for me, I was like, yeah, I'm over looking into it. There's nothing like, what am I going to do?
All right, hold on. Oh, fuck. 2,300 kids are missing a day that we know of, right? Um, then when you think about how lax the border is, right? And we're not going to get into discussion of whatever, but how
Yeah.
lax the border is and how certain, how people end up getting over at times, right? Then you think about the lost humans and children within that sphere. That's a lot of humans. I don't think people understand. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of
A lot of
bodies.
kids.
A lot of kids. Yeah.
2,300 a day?
Yeah.
Come on.
Granted, you would say there's got to be a solid amount of them that go
That
missing
get
and then
found.
turn
Yeah.
up found. So
Of course, of course.
chop the
But
number in half, but
that's still a
still,
lot.
give it a quarter. That's still a lot.
That's still a lot of kids to
To
then
be
be,
super generous, yeah.
forced in Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. You daily, and then
Yeah.
it just makes you wonder, why is that not a big issue? Why are we not pushing to kind of true that up? Whose hands are in the cookie pot in regards to that? It makes you wonder. So some of these things that are considered conspiracies aren't really conspiracies like that. And one that's going to kind of speak to conspiracies and kind of lead us into one was that for a long time people have been saying that China is going to be, rising up
Mm.
against us. That's something I've been hearing
I've
since a
heard
lot of
that.
these data
I'm
too,
not even
from the
paying
2000s,
attention. Not
right?
even paying attention like that. I've heard that forever. I always
That's
ignore it and just like they'll
yep.
try, but we're U.S. Like nobody's topping us. Nobody's coming near us.
And now,
Oh, we have enough people on our side. Nobody on that side. Russia, whatever.
well, the issue is that China themselves has, they've amassed themselves as obviously a world superpower, and then they also have like allies who are ready to get down as well. We got allies too, but I don't know if our allies are ready to get down with China to that full
That's the
extent.
part that I would wonder too. Is our allies like, yo, we want to fight too? Or they're like, yo, we ain't trying to get involved in that. We
But then
will
they
if we
would
have
have
to.
no, but they would have to, like,
Yeah,
they
we
would,
will if we have to. But
well, shit, they're definitely gonna have to, because when you're looking at what China and Russia has done as of late, right? So China and Russia has decided they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna create an alliance, and basically within their fucking mission statement that they stated was that they are basically doing this because democracy is not one size fit all.
mm,
They are badasses and they want to come together to stop the West's influence. When they're saying the West, they directly mean fucking America, basically. and and
basically,
and people
yes.
may ask, well, what is it that triggered it now? Because China and Russia has been at odds for, in their own rights, right? One, you got two powerful autocrats coming together. That's the first thing. Both of them are kind of like they don't operate the same way, but they respect each other's hustle because they're kind of playing the same game. You see what I'm saying? And then they both understand the struggle of the common fucking enemy, which is motherfucking the United States and that whole Western influence on just them being able to do whatever it is the hell that they want, right? Another thing that has kind of got them bigging up in their bridges at this point in time is facts is the way that we withdrew from Afghanistan, and is also our response to the China released COVID. So that's where it came from. So it is what it is. We're still trying to figure that thing out now. That came out of Bio 2, a bio 2 medical lab that in America would be classified as you know, a level 3 bio lab, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But when they look at the way that we exited out of Afghanistan, kind of looked abrupt with no kind of exit plan, not really knowing what kind of our elbow from our asshole in that regard, and then our response to COVID and how we've kind of, it was all over the place within America, but then it was all over the place everywhere. But mainly, I think it has to be because we do not at this point in time, and I don't think we have for the past few years, we don't have we don't have a strong international relationship presence anymore because the American people are war tired. We were tired of having our troops all the way over there. We're tired of having our, trying losing our men and women for shit that has nothing to do with us ultimately when it comes down to it, especially when we know that our government has fabricated fucking wars. So our enemies are able to look back and see all that shit going down. They're like, this I'm paraphrasing what was happening, right? So fucking Vladimir Putin probably called up goddamn President Yi, and he was like, "Yo, don't you want the fucking Taiwan shit?" Yeah,
I was going to bring that up because I feel like that has something to do with it.
that is a very
They're doing some shit.
Taiwan
and they don't want
and
people
this
to pay
Ukraine
attention.
shit. It's not even the point that they don't want people to pay attention. It's more so like, how are you going to react to effectively this effectively was going to be like the same situation what Russia's trying to do. How are y'all in the world are going to react so that way we can somewhat get our game plan together for when we decide to enact it. That's what it's, or decide not to enact it depending on what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But effectively, Putin was like, yo, listen, you know that if I get the fucking Ukraine shit, you're gonna be able to get that Taiwan shit, and then we can start doing what the fuck we want to, because it's gonna be a new era at that point in time. They're not gonna fuck with us, right? China probably was like, yeah, you're right, you're right, because China really, they're, for a long time, their international politics and kind of their gameplay they would do is like, China would most of the time be in the background of shit. They like to be kind of like moving and grooving, slide, like do that dumb bitch,
kind of not really listen.
Misdirection, kind of like you look at what this motherfucker over there doing, and boom, they out there doing some shit. Or kind of like, you never can truly be blamed on the outward for it, even if you knew they were doing it. You know what I mean? Russia, with Putin, has kind of been like, we don't give a fuck. Like, this is what we doing. This is gonna be how we moving. But I kind of got lost there a little bit in that point. But effectively, you have them having those conversations. Then they watching how the world is going to respond to the Ukraine, that's going to embolden China with Taiwan. And ultimately, for America, the Ukraine shit we have less interest in than the Taiwan shit. That Taiwan shit is of high interest for us. That is a strategic, point for us, those waters, internationals. That's a lot of shit going on. But
that trading port related or something? Like the waters element. Do you care about that so that you can?
No, it's just because if you ever had to fight a war in China, you would have a place.
You need. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's what it's. That's really what. The nuts and bolts of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So we're in an interesting place because the U.S. they obviously sent 3,000 soldiers over there. We're looking to start deploying more soldiers to different parts of Europe now. It looks like Europe is going to be a little bit of a hotbed, but then also too, we in America have to be looking at China, what they're going to be doing with Taiwan. And then with this new alliance that, China and Russia has said knows no bounds. And for years now, at least for me, remember, so it's going to have to be farther than that, but at least since 2016, 17, at least they've been doing joint war games together.
Yeah, I read about that they've been kind of out, basically practicing together
all the time for a while before it has even led to this point.
So
before it even became official. So now that it's official and their relationship is going to get even tighter, it makes you wonder what is, and you do have to question. So then is the U.S. on their decline? Because honestly, I don't think that we would stomp Russia. I'm be honest with you, we would beat Russia. They get a lick in it too. We beat Russia. Us and China would be fucking wild, because it's not only a physical war but a cyber war as well as a goddamn fucking a trade war that would get nasty. Nasty. And I'm sorry I went on that soliloquy. What do you
But
think?
us straight up, if it was with us straight up, I feel like we'd still end up dominating anyone. The issue for us, I think, now is none of this is with us. So this is us joining into other people's stuff.
Which then doesn't really get the American people going.
Right. We don't care. We
No,
don't
but then
want to be there.
that's also what led to Pearl Harbor too. What? That's also that's also the kind of shit that led to us lying about anthrax. What? That also led excuse me, that also led about us, some people even could say 9/11 was that an inside job, not an inside job. You're looking at it, you got the connection with Saudi Arabia, we got no beef with Saudi Arabia, we end up going into
Yo, we
Afghanistan.
need
What?
an excuse to go in. Yeah, I remember that angle.
Fighting the war for Dick Cheney. What? Losing American soldiers. What?
But then, so a point that was raised in the video I was watching, part of what I read says Putin wants, or this is kind of jumping past China to Russia, but if Putin wants NATO, if Putin and China, if Russia and China both want NATO's expansion to stop and to get them away from their areas, isn't threatening war the counter, like the exact opposite of that? Growth, no, but they're not going to be all up in your growth, because now they're like, yo, we can't leave Ukraine by themselves, so we have to stay around. You want us to go away, but you're pressing people that we want them to be on our side, so we got to look out for them. We're hoping that they don't go and join your side. Like, isn't that the whole point? Is that NATO's trying to keep Ukraine, in a sense, from being taken over or joining with Russia?
Yeah, they don't want them to be taken over, but then the Ukraine is not in NATO. That's why the shit gets all really.
They're the neutral.
Bad.
That's where
Yep.
China and Russia are getting together, because they're like, we don't want Ukraine to join them, and then NATO gets bigger.
Yep. Then they lose less influence because they see right. But then also too, besides it being like they don't want their borders or anything like that to be any smaller, it also comes down to influence as well now, because they really believe that they can like flip the world. Like it's like the West is declining.
Trying to flip the world.
100%. Which is like, I don't know. That's why I mean, like it's gonna get weird. But then also too, you have to look at China's influence in Africa now. Like excuse me. Once again, that's what. And I'm sorry, I keep going back to China because.
Well, you started there, so that makes sense.
Well, it's not even that. It's because I really see China as the bigger threat than Russia. I think Russia is always saw as the big bad boogeyman, but not really afraid of them fucking idiots over there. And I say that the way I said it, fucking idiots. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, they're doing some like crazy shit nowadays, but I'm not afraid of our government. Like, you don't want to fight them in Russia, but
you don't think Putin's smarter?
Smarter than who? I think Putin's more ruthless because he can be in certain regards, but then I also
think he's reckless then.
Yeah,
like the moves he's doing now, where it's you're smart but not smart. You're not that smart.
You're not that smart.
You're not thinking these things through.
President Yi is the one that gives me like a because
it's it. Because, like you mentioned, he's being strategic. I'm a partner with Russia and let y'all go first.
Think about, and matter of fact, and think about it like this: the fact that we have now so much China influence within a lot of American media, American politics, like they're everywhere. Like we just found spies. We had a presidential nominee that was compromised by a Chinese spy on the stage that people from America could listen to speak. You understand what I'm saying?
I remember
they are on a completely different level than fucking Russia. That's why China's kind of like, I personally think Russia's going to be the scapegoat. Like, yeah, it's an alliance, kind of cool. Go ahead, do that Ukraine shit. Okay. That's how they're going to respond. We'll wait a little bit. Or, no, you know what? Let's go right now. We should have been yesterday. Fuck them.
So then this fits with what the end of that article said. Even circling back to what you said before, where you said China usually sits back in the back and is like, oh, we're doing this. We're back. We're out here committing these atrocities. Oh, well, look at them. Look at them. They're doing it too. Go get them. And skates off. So are they out here kind of dangling Russia in front of us to say, hey, pay attention to them. Look at them. Go look. They're trying to do this right now. Go stop them so that they can sit in the background and inch more into Taiwan, inch more in. Like, are they? Is that what they're trying to do here? Do you think?
110%, 110%. And
This is
then
me just off the quick
like no,
reading
well,
speculating.
obviously it's more to that. If you talk
Yeah.
to anybody, they'll tell you. But ultimately, for China, that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's for their own self-serving interest, and then obviously Russia's doing this because they want to feel emboldened by having the backing of China, especially that in alliance or treaty that knows no bounds. Especially with two individuals who do democracy in a completely different way than anyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like this is democracy. Um, communism. Um, whatever. Uh, so it's more than just like a border war. This is like a cultural war. This is gonna be like a show of dominance, a show of like we're here now.
I feel like that's Putin's angle. Is I
That
want to
is,
take over and grow and look really strong
but like they don't
by
feed their
beating
people.
up weak people.
Yeah, but they
I'm gonna
don't.
go. I'm gonna
Mhm.
station two like 300,000 guys to fight an army of less than that in an area with people who don't really fight, who ain't trying to fight us. But I'm a flex on you hard.
That's our land. We can't allow the U.S. continue to come. So they must go. Done done.
Like, is that what he's doing though? Is that his way of like, I want to be big and bad, so I
I'll
like
be
the
honest.
USSR. I want to bring that back. I'm going to flex on Ukraine because
I
they're
think
weaker, and I think I can muscle them in, or and then nobody else is going to really do anything to me because they're going to think I'm bluffing anyway.
it's effectively kind of I feel as if what Putin's game is. And once again, this is me admittedly, like I said, my Russian shit is slacking a little bit now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mostly no, and the reason I'm saying it is because like they're not the biggest issue to me. Like
Hmm.
I'm not afraid that there's nothing about Russia that it gives me like we're America. It's China. The same way that if you talk to people in China, they would say the same thing about us. So let's not get it twisted, people. We're still the big bad boogeyman
So
for a
isn't Ukraine
reason.
over resources? Like, I was talking to my coworker. She said it was something about they have the natural gas and oil. Is that what's in Ukraine, and that's the land that they're trying to take over?
Well, let's
Because then,
find
if
this
Russia
out.
gets that, would that be an issue for us? Because
Well, we
maybe
well
that's.
first of all, here's the issue. Would it be an issue for us, or would it not be? Because they're already building some pipeline to Russia for natural resources and shit like that. We saw how Biden lost that trade agreement over there. We were supposed to have an issue with the motherfuckers, but we're giving them more power and more resources. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
When it comes to my thoughts on Russia, like ultimately, y'all are really not that big of it. China is the fucker. But let's see what's going on in the Ukraine. I just Google. So the Ukraine wants an open door policy towards Russia, but they just don't want a Russia takeover. Huh, interesting. Um,
Yeah, I didn't read anything saying that they're like, "Oh, we're anti-Russia, we're against everything." Like, I don't. There's no word about Ukraine's either. It's like, yeah. At least the things I read don't say anything like they're trying to run and ask for help somewhere. Like, yeah, just leave us alone. We're trying to just sit back and you know
who
live.
was it? Who was it that Russia took over in 2014?
Crimea. I don't know, throwing that out there. Just
Yeah,
'cause I
Crimea.
literally just read it and I know I remember hearing about it and it was brought
Crimea.
up.
So it's basically going to do that to the Ukraine.
They're trying to. Apparently, or something like that. They're trying to do something similar.
Huh. So effectively, the reason why that they're going over there is because Putin doesn't look at the Ukrainians as any different than Russians, so they might as well fucking be Russians.
He's trying to bring it back together.
Yep.
He's like, y'all just be
To
like
their
us.
to
Let me
their to
run it.
their to their pre-Soviet Union days.
Mm-hmm. He wants that whole that's what I read is that he wants the whole USSR back. I'm like, he's playing
Yeah.
Street Fighter and was out there like
I'm gonna just take
USSR. He's
yes.
all out. I forget the guy's name that was from there. Pick was the big dude with the mohawk.
And then if you do that, they're gonna be able to directly. It makes war is around like, and that fucking sucks. Nobody wants to go through war.
Because then doesn't that push? If you take Ukraine, doesn't that then push against Poland's borders?
Yes,
and then they'll be
right,
worried
by
about
Italy
them trying to take over border like Poland. So
Hold
like
on.
it's in looking at the whole lines of territory and all that. I was like, I can see because apparently Poland was now starting to send out troops to help Ukraine or to be there for Ukraine just in case.
If they wanted to take over all of Ukraine, depending on the way that this bastard wanted to do it, right? Lithuania could, like, excuse me, no, I'm bugging the fuck out. I apologize, people. But parts of Romania and parts of Poland, depending on how he wanted to do it, he could be like, that's ours, fuck it. And what stops him? And then if he does that, then what stops? Like I said, he's right. He does that, they are right there. And that is something that the UN and the United States cannot allow.
Yeah.
Literally right there.
So that would seem like that would be his point. And then in his head, he's like, if we try and do this, at least I'll have China on my side to back us when people fight back.
Son,
I did hear, I didn't look at it, but that they pulled some troops out already.
Who did?
Russia pulled some troops from the border. Because if so, then it might be a we flex just to get a reaction. It's kind of like we do a feint, see how you react. You threw your guard up, cool. All right, we see that you're going to send troops, so you're not going all in, but you're doing something. You're sacrificing bodies for now. You're willing to sacrifice these bodies.
So Russia says it's pulling back some troops. You are right. They're pulling back some of the troops. But here's the thing. Russia's not going to do a goddamn thing until after the Olympics. Not going to piss off China.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because they're there and they went there as friends and the only ones there, they ain't doing it yet.
No. But you can bet your bottom dollar that they had a few conversations on how they about to fuck some shit up, and then they got fucking drunk and had a go Mario goddamn time about it. If those two motherfuckers decide to drink, I'm here to tell you right now, once the Olympics is over, shit's gonna turn up in the fucking kitchen.
It might escalate a little bit.
I think it will escalate.
Putin has shown before there's more of a chance because now you've gotten your big thing out, gave that to him. And I was like, all right, now we can turn it up a little bit.
Excuse me. And think about this for a second. So, like, if they move their larger army there, right? What about all of the smaller forces and the mercenary groups that was able to move into the country under the guise of that large army? You see what I'm saying? Think about some of the shit they were able to set up or whatever the fucking case it may be. Like, we're in a weird, dangerous time, man. Because trust me, if we, as America, we have fucking soldiers that can go and destabilize governments, you don't think other countries haven't learned how to do that and have counteractive ones, especially superpowers?
Probably watched us do it and said, all right, this is how you do it wrong. So.
Well, no, we do destabilize shit, but we just destabilize it and then leave it fucked up.
That's wrong.
Yeah, and then these
they're probably like, yo, we'll destabilize it, but then we'll give you this to set in place for it now, so that we get it run like we want. Over, we're just up and leave. We go in, jack things up, and then say, "All right, we do what we do. We do exactly what
Do
we
what
do.
we do.
Only
Like,
we go in, take
mhm.
out the top bad guys, and then say, all right, the rest of y'all figure it out.
Here's a
You
power
ain't got nobody
vacuum.
here that can lead you, but good luck. We out."
But no. Y'all have nobody who can lead you, but we think this guy should lead y'all, and we're gonna give him a whole lot of resources if you elect him.
Oh
If
yeah,
you don't, it is what it is.
we think that this guy in your group is good enough and got it, so we'll run with him. Did we vet him? Not really. He looks like the guy
Yeah,
that he was the guy that was hanging out with the other guy, so he's got to know enough. We'll work with that.
he
Black
sounds
Panthers.
cool. He could be a puppet. It is what it is. Like we'll make it work.
Look at what they did with Black Panthers.
Oh, 100%.
It's
The state.
you took your same mentality. Look, the crack era. Same thing. It's like y'all hung out with the people who know what to do, so you should be able to figure it out without your leaders go.
You know, it's funny. America is like probably America legitimately used its own they probably learned techniques that they used on its own people that they used to destabilize other governments. Probably practice them here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you look at like the whole policies and like not even the whole thought process, but really just the moxie of people. Just like listen, J. Edgar Hoover said it. There will never be another Black Messiah unless we raise it or raise him. Think about this. It is the same shit we were doing in countries all over the globe. Most recently, i.e., goddamn, Central America, South America. I would say, you know what I mean. We've been trying to fuck up Mexico for a long time. We still haven't completely done it, but we've been trying. Like, you know what I mean. This is I don't know. We also, we are. It's whatever. We're not gonna, hey, listen.
We
I
don't
think we,
diverge that far.
you know what I mean. But I think we gave the people enough to chew on. What about you, my brother?
That works. Internationally ain't gonna hang around that long anyway.
You know what I'm saying? We kind of got in and got out because ultimately, it's not gonna heat up until after the Olympics, people. After the Olympics, all bets are probably gonna be off. We're probably dipping our toe in a lot more than that because everybody else is gonna be forced to dip their toe in a lot more than that because all shit is gonna hit the fucking fan. And I hope it's not like, hey, it was funny how we covered Joe Rogan the week after that. This motherfucker decided to go viral. I hope we don't release this episode and then all hell breaks loose.
Next, oh god,
You know what I mean?
Something.
I'd be mad as hell, but motherfucker.
When are the Olympics over? In a week? This week?
The 20th, I think.
So it's coming.
Yeah. The 20th, I think. Eh?
5 days. So.
Oh man, 5 days of peace, I guess. Well, I am Dean. That over there is Zen. This has been Zen Chaos. I think you should all go out there and buy a gun and learn how to shoot and stuff like that. And then also fucking
Grandma can do it. I can do it.
If grandma knew you, listen, grandma said that she was gonna go out there and fight, and grandma gonna fuck around and get blasted in the face. So peace, love, and chicken. We are out.